With every new entry in the Indiana Jones franchise, fans have come to expect a new artifact even more powerful than the last. Fans are already debating the rumored MacGuffins of Indy 5 with the Glocka, the anti-Khedera device, and time travel as possible contenders. While fans wait for Indiana Jones 5's official reveal, now is the perfect time to reflect on where the franchise has been. For over 40 years now, Indiana Jones films, comics, books, and games have been wowing audiences with incredible artifacts with increasingly powerful supernatural abilities. Let's take a look at the top 10. Number 10, Dinosaur Egg. Perhaps inspired by the other Steven Spielberg mega franchise, Indiana Jones and the Dinosaur Eggs was written during the 1990s Jurassic Park craze. While the idea of Indy being chased by T-Rexes and Velociraptors is a mouth-watering prospect, the only dinosaur in this book was in fact a Triceratops. The book features not fossilized, but fresh, unhatched Triceratops dinosaur eggs. It was the first time Indy's MacGuffin was a living thing. It allowed a completely fresh direction for an Indiana Jones story, which nestles into the category of genre bending along with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Number 9, The Crystal Skull. While Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull may be the least popular of the four movies, the Crystal Skull itself is a fascinating MacGuffin in its own right. The unmistakable skull belonged to an ancient interdimensional traveler who was worshipped as a god by natives at Akator. The unique, elongated skull is composed of an unearthly crystal that magnetically attracts nearby metal objects. Even more astonishingly, the skull can communicate telepathically with some people who gaze into its eyes, even driving them mad in some cases. Number 8, The Staff of Moses. 2009's Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings marked the long-awaited return to Jewish artifacts for the series. The Wii release was one of 3 different versions of the game. A novelization by Rob McGregor remained unpublished until he began reading it on his podcast, The Mystical Underground, in 2021. The staff's most well-known power was parting the sea, as immortalized in the epic film The Ten Commandments. This power set up the video game's brilliant climax as Indy and rival Magnus Voller engage in a thrilling motorcycle chase on the seabed floor, surrounded by walls of water. Number 7, The Spear of Destiny. For Dark Horse's Spear of Destiny comic, Elaine Lee brilliantly blended the legends of the Spear of Longinus with that of the Spear of Lug. As an object of Grail lore, it also allowed fan favorite Henry Sr. to come front and center in an Indy story once again. In the comic, the spear was said to have an unquenchable lust for blood and could seek out targets through its own power. The spear could even kill without touching the victim, as villain Dieter Hoffman found out in a bloody death scene. Number 6, The Philosopher's Stone. Though the Philosopher's Stone has become synonymous with the Harry Potter series in recent decades, it has been a frequent MacGuffin in Indiana Jones's expanded adventures. In fact, the stone has been the object of his quest in no less than 3 unrelated works. In the book Indiana Jones and the Philosopher's Stone, its power was seen to melt a man's flesh off of his bones. The French comic Indiana Jones and the Cursed Book of Magic reimagined it as an elixir, and in the Dark Horse comic Indiana Jones and the Iron Phoenix, an army of undead Nazis was risen through the stone's power. Number 5, Noah's Ark. The vessel that saved Noah and mankind from the Great Flood appeared in the book Indiana Jones and the Genesis Deluge. Indy found it half buried in a glacier atop Mount Ararat. An avalanche later buried it under an ocean of snow further down the mountainside. While Noah's Ark lacks the usual supernatural powers of the franchise, it makes up for it through the scope of its legend. As one of the great mysteries of the ancient world, it has an aura of mystique surrounding it throughout the story. Number 4, the Sankara Stones. After crash landing in India in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Indy came upon a village that seemed to have been stripped of all its hope and joy. This led Indy to the Thuggee Temple, where he found them to be in possession of 3 of the 5 Sankara Stones, needing only 2 more to become all-powerful. The stones could be used for good or evil, as the Thuggees sought to use them to take over the world. However, Indy tapped into the power of the stones to defeat Thuggee boss Molaram and returned it to the village, which had become colorful and prosperous once more. Number 3, Atlantis. After the original trilogy seemingly wrapped up the Indiana Jones film series, Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis was Indy 4. Developed as an original story at LucasArts Game Studio, it was soon adapted as a Dark Horse comic as well. Indy and the Nazis raced to discover the city deep beneath the Mediterranean Ocean. The Atlantis of this story was full of amazing artifacts, including orichalcum power beads, a powerful necklace used to communicate with Nur-Absal, and the unstable god machine built by the Atlanteans. There, Indy duped the Nazi bosses into deforming and destroying themselves with the god machine. Number 2, the Holy Grail. Henry Jones Sr.'s lifetime obsession was the terrific prize of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Henry collected clues from the whole history of the Grail quest in his diary, which proved to be vital in the retrieval of the Cup of Christ. Even before Indy, the term Holy Grail had long been synonymous with a supreme objective. In Last Crusade, it granted Drinker's long life, allowing for a knight to live over 700 years. Indiana used the Grail to save his father from a lethal bullet wound, while the poorly choosing Walter Donovan had his own life taken from him. Number 1, the Ark of the Covenant. The original Indiana Jones MacGuffin will forever be the greatest. Its iconic status is beyond question. Indy discovered the Ark in the Well of Souls right under the nose of a Nazi excavation team at Tanis, Egypt during Raiders of the Lost Ark. This unrivaled superweapon destroys all who look upon it by fire, lightning, and yes, even face melting. Indy took on the entire German army to retrieve it in the iconic desert chase, but in the end, the Nazis opened it to their own demise. So that's the top 10 Indiana Jones artifacts. Do you agree or disagree with my rankings? Let me know in the comments, hit like and subscribe, and I wish you all fortune and glory. Bye bye now.